One night of closeness became a lifetime of longing. When goodbye lingered, every heartbeat screamed her name. The night began quietly, with the city lights spilling golden reflections on the wet pavement. He was 23, still navigating the boundaries of adult life, yet something about the way she carried herself made him forget time entirely. She was 40, an American Caucasian woman, long black hair falling in soft waves, lightly tanned skin, subtle freckles, dark brown eyes, curvy yet graceful, radiating confidence tempered by quiet vulnerability. He arrived at her apartment after a small gathering of friends, the lingering laughter fading behind him as he stepped into her brightly lit living room. She stood by the window, silhouetted by the soft glow of city lights, one hand resting on the frame, the other lightly holding a wine glass. The air smelled faintly of vanilla and jasmine, comforting yet intoxicating. Their conversation began with laughter and shared stories, yet every glance, every movement carried a quiet tension. His hand brushed against hers when reaching for a napkin, a fleeting touch, yet electric. She looked at him then, not with judgment, but with a quiet understanding, her 40-year-old experience meeting his youthful curiosity. Time slowed. He noticed the details he hadn't before, the curve of her smile, the gentle slope of her shoulders, the subtle lines around her eyes that spoke of decades of laughter and pain. When she laughed, it was melodic, and he felt a tug deep in his chest, a sense of warmth, of home, of something unspoken but undeniable. She guided him to sit beside her on the sofa. The couch was soft, bathed in warm light from a nearby lamp, and when their knees touched, it was as if the room itself held its breath. She didn't pull away, instead, her gaze lingered, a silent invitation to linger in this shared space of closeness. Yet beneath the comfort, there was an edge of finality. She had made it clear, this was a night, a moment, a fleeting connection. But in his chest, his heart had already betrayed him, leaning towards something he couldn't yet name. He wanted to speak, to define, to claim the night, but words faltered. The air between them was thick with unspoken feelings, desire restrained by her gentle boundaries. When he finally left, stepping back into the quiet streets, the city's glow could not match the imprint she had left on him. One night, it was supposed to be nothing, casual. And yet, his mind and heart carried it endlessly. Every corner of his memory echoed with the warmth of her hand, the subtle sway of her hair, the soft timbre of her voice. It was a goodbye that refused to arrive, stretching infinitely across the hours and days that followed. The day after that night, he found himself haunted by the memory of her touch. Every detail lingered, the warmth of her hand, the slight curve of her lips, the soft sway of her long black hair. At 23, he had never experienced such a combination of admiration, desire, and hesitation. She was 40, an American Latina woman with lightly tanned skin, subtle freckles, dark brown eyes, and a curvy yet graceful figure. Every movement she made radiated calm authority and quiet warmth. She called him unexpectedly, her voice warm but measured, inviting him to meet at a nearby park bathed in sunlight. He arrived early, nervously adjusting his casual clothes, aware of how different he felt, young, inexperienced, compared to her quiet, magnetic presence. When she appeared, the brightness of the afternoon caught the shine of her long black hair, the elegance of her soft blouse and fitted pants, the natural poise of a woman completely at ease with herself. Their conversation started lightly, work, books, mundane details, but under it flowed a tension neither could ignore. Every laugh, every fleeting glance carried unspoken meaning. When her hand brushed his while passing a book, the contact lingered in a way that spoke volumes. He wanted to ask questions, to define their connection, but fear and hesitation held his tongue. They walked along sunlit paths, side by side, shoulders occasionally brushing. She didn't pull away, instead, her dark brown eyes met his with quiet curiosity, a subtle invitation to share more than words aloud. The world seemed to shrink around them, the bright park fading to a soft focus as they existed in their own orbit of unspoken emotion. At the end of the walk, she paused, lightly touching his arm as she said goodbye. The contact lingered, and he felt a pull in his chest, a magnetic force he could not resist. Leaving her, he realized that one night, one casual night, had created ripples that were far from over. Every heartbeat since had been colored by her presence, a subtle ache of longing he could not shake. Over the following week, he replayed their encounters in his mind. Every detail mattered, the way sunlight caught her hair, the warmth in her voice, the faint freckles across her cheeks. She was a 40-year-old American Caucasian woman, long black hair, lightly tanned skin, curvy figure, graceful posture, and dark brown eyes that carried a quiet, knowing wisdom. He felt both captivated and intimidated, unsure how to navigate the space between them. They met again at her apartment. Bright afternoon light poured through the windows, illuminating the room in a soft glow. She wore a light sweater and a skirt, comfortable yet elegant. Their conversation was easy, yet tension hummed beneath the surface. Every touch, a hand on the armrest, a knee brushing his, felt charged. He noticed subtle signs of her vulnerability, quick sighs and fleeting glances, and it made her allure even more compelling. Their laughter came naturally, yet silence was even more revealing. When their eyes met across the couch, he felt seen in a way that unsettled him. The emotional intimacy deepened, and he realized the night they had shared had created a connection he could not ignore. By the time he left, the golden light of the city outside seemed dim compared to the warmth she had left in his chest. The tension between them grew with each encounter. Every time he recalled the brush of her hand or the softness in her voice, his chest tightened. At 23, he felt inexperienced, yet drawn irresistibly to her 40-year-old confidence and grace. She wore her long black hair effortlessly, lightly tanned skin glowing in the bright afternoon, subtle freckles and soft laugh lines emphasizing her lived experience. They shared coffee at a brightly lit cafe, the sunlight streaming over their table. Small touches, a hand brushing his arm, leaning slightly closer, conveyed more than words could. He longed for her presence yet feared overstepping the delicate boundaries she had set. Every glance she offered was heavy with unspoken meaning, a mixture of curiosity, restraint, and something he couldn't name. As he walked her to the door, her hand lightly touched his arm. The contact lingered, a tangible reminder of the night and the growing pull between them. He left with a heart full of longing, aware that one night had evolved into a series of moments that would haunt him indefinitely. In the bright warmth of a weekend afternoon, they shared an unscripted walk through a sunlit park. Birds sang, the leaves glimmered, but all he noticed was her. At 40, she carried herself with elegance, long black hair, lightly tanned skin, curvy figure, subtle freckles, moving with confidence tempered by quiet vulnerability. Her dark brown eyes, full of life's wisdom, tracked him with a softness he could not resist. They spoke of small things, allowing touches and glances to communicate what words could not. Their hands brushed repeatedly, each time lingering slightly longer. He noticed the curve of her smile, the light in her eyes when she laughed, and felt drawn deeper into an emotional gravity he could not escape. When they finally sat on a park bench, shoulders close, he realized that the line between fleeting connection and something deeper had already blurred. She was more than a memory, she was a force in his life, a presence impossible to ignore. The following encounters heightened the tension, revealing both their desires and fears. In her sunlit kitchen, he watched her move gracefully, long black hair catching the bright light, lightly tanned skin radiant, dark brown eyes thoughtful. She wore casual clothing, elegant yet understated, and every gesture pulled him further into uncharted territory. Their conversations became more personal, touches more deliberate, each glance weighted with unspoken questions. They were both aware of the consequences, the age gap, the fleeting nature of their connection, yet the pull between them was irresistible. In the bright afternoon garden, her hand brushed his while passing flowers. Their proximity, the warmth of the sun, and the shared laughter created an intimacy neither could deny. He felt the quiet ache of longing deepen, understanding that the casual night had evolved into something more enduring. The story's emotional resolution came on a bright evening, sitting together on her porch. She was 40, long black hair, lightly tanned skin, subtle freckles, curvy figure, graceful posture, eyes warm and tender. Their hands brushed deliberately now, not accidental, and their glances carried shared understanding. They laughed softly, the kind of laughter that hinted at unspoken connection and quiet desire. The night sky glowed with fading sunlight, the suburban setting bright and serene. The emotional fallout of one night had matured into genuine intimacy and mutual recognition. He realized that the goodbye he feared would be endless had transformed. It was not a separation but the beginning of an emotional closeness that would endure, quietly and profoundly. If you've ever felt how one night can stay with you forever, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment "one night" below.